Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show.
Welcome back to the Prime Tech Files. I'm Lilith.
I'm Ricky.
And we are starting our Season 2 journey today with episode 201 for a month later. I remember the buzz for Season 2. I remember exactly how I felt when I saw this episode.
So you're gonna...
It was pretty good. And I think it's already like the third time that I've rewatched this episode this month because I went back and started again all over with my rewatch.
I think this first episode plays out pretty much how the season opener started. You know, you've got a large number of characters, all in different circumstances, and they're dealing with their problems in different ways. And they plant the seeds for, like, upcoming storylines in the first episode. There's so much that you don't know yet that it's difficult to judge just what's actually going on.
That's good for Heroes.
Yeah, I think that's great for Heroes. If you've seen Season 1, it's so densely packed that they may have turned new viewers off. I enjoyed it. I always sound like I'm saying it begrudgingly, don't I? Yeah, I enjoyed it.
But it's just because you're British, Ricky.
I know,
we
right?
Understand. Everything sounds condescending at times. It's okay. Us Americans love it anyway.
Cool.
Let's get into the summary and then we can break this episode down because there's a lot to break down.
I know, right? Claire and her family adapt to the new life in Costa Verde. Mohinder and Noah's plan to take down the company goes into action as Mohinder is offered a job. Matt finally succeeds in his detective exam, but has something new to deal with as Molly begins to have strange dreams. Ando and Kaito Nakamura learn Kaito's life is in danger. In feudal Japan, Hiro meets his childhood hero, Tazeo Kensei, but all is not as it seems. Maya Herrera and her brother Alejandro attempt to cross the border into the USA to deal with her deadly ability. Nathan shuts out Angela and Claire as he wallows in the loss of Peter. A familiar face turns up in an unexpected place.
Thick and strange, heavy accents.
Yes. Yes. You think Samuel Sullivan's accent is weird, or even Hannah's accent was weird.
Two different ones.
I know, but still.
Oh gosh. So yeah, we opened up the season kind of how we opened up the first season with Mohinder giving a speech, but this time he's giving speeches about plagues involving the evolved humans. He, of course, is approached by a strange man after a lecture in Cairo. Who says that his father and Shanti would be proud. Mohinder confronts the man, asking him if the company sent him a bag and tag him. And when Mohinder tells the man he won't run this time, the man then offers him a job. Mohinder refuses, but acts interested when the man says that no one believed in his father's theories either.
I like it. It's starting off with the storyline that's going to go throughout the whole season. It's kind of a callback to, obviously, Molly getting the virus. And, you know, now it's starting to spread more into the population of special people. And you know when something spreads to special people that
it'll mutate and evolve.
Yes,
maybe.
And
well,
that's
depending on how aggressive it is to regular humans. So
yeah.
like, yeah.
I also like the introduction of Bob. We obviously kind of know that he's working for the company in some shape or form, but also just the way that he introduces himself. And Mohinder actually grew some balls over the season break and said, you know, he's no longer running, which is something that he did not quite a lot of, but something that, you know, he went to the company begrudgingly all the time. And now it seems like, you know, he's going to kind of stand up for himself.
Yeah, plus it's Steven Tobolowsky, who is just a great character actor. When he shows up, you know, the mess is going to hit the the fan. Like
Exactly.
that every single character he's ever played, you just know.
Exactly.
So, moving on to Maya and Alejandro. They're running through the streets.
Let's break this down right now. Myron and Alejandro are the new Isaac and Simone of this season. They are kind of the new Sanderses as well. They're the ones that we kind of don't want to have to deal with. Like, the thing about like Heroes Season 1 is even though the stories were like all over the place, they kind of interlinked at certain points. But the whole Alejandro and Maya storyline seems completely off to the side of the rest of the storylines, which kind of are linked.
Oh, I do, sir.
Yes.
Definitely think Maya is the new Simone because she's pretty to look at, but all I want to ever do when her scenes show up is fast forward.
Yeah.
And she makes terrible decision after two.
Yep.
So we meet them, and they're on the run through the streets of San Cristobal, Honduras. They're trying to evade the police. Alejandro urges Maya to keep running, but Maya argues that they've been running for 800 miles already. That's hard to believe. I feel like once they get out of the city limits, especially in a place like Honduras, like the police literally don't care.
Yeah.
But whatever. Maya tells them that if they get caught, then people would die. And then, but Alejandro retorts that people would die if they don't run. And he comments that by Tuesday, they will be in America where they can find answers. Sure, buddy.
Yeah, the American dream.
Claire and Noah arrive at Claire's new school. She comments that being a new student, she will be in the shark-infested waters of 11th grade. And having no friends makes her shark bait. Claire, you're super hot. Shut up. You have no problem. Just shut up. Her father reminds her that she's Claire Butler, and I groan, and I'm like, Bennett Butler? Okay, whatever. But more importantly, she can't seem special in any way. Don't draw attention. The company's still out there and is still looking for them specifically. She asks her father when she can get her own car. It's supposed to be a surprise, but for her birthday, but she's getting a Nissan Rogue. Screw you, Versa. It's a Nissan Rogue.
Yeah, we're on season 2 now.
Upgrade.
He says the words, try and be perfectly unextraordinary. And wasn't ordinary people doing extraordinary things one of the taglines for Heroes as well, right? Or was that another show?
I think it was another show.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah, so on the way to class, Claire nearly gets run over by a boy who stares at her, and then she's like, what is this creeper's deal?
Yeah, why is he listening to generic rap music?
Better than that Indian music.
Oh yeah, true that.
We catch up with Hiro, who has landed in a grassy meadow. He looks around. He sees a group of Japanese archers raising their bows towards him. He turns to run, but then realizes that it's Takezo Kensei poised behind Hiro, and they're about to attack. Then a clip occurs overhead. Hiro sees the arrows fired and stops time before they hit him.
Hashtag Heroes Logic.
Yes, that is the season 2 hashtag for Carbon Tech Files. Just because it's not supposed to work when eclipse happens.
Yes, slight spoiler, but who cares?
After moving out of the way, he sees his hero almost hit by arrows as well. He puts his hand on the horse of the rider and teleports them both to safety. That's the story that just keeps on giving, doesn't it?
I like the way that they started going with it. I like the idea because obviously when you see pictures of Kensei to begin with, he looks kind of like Future Hero with the whole, ponytail and soul patch. So I always figured that he would go back in time and take the place of Kensei. And boy, was I kind of right yet kind of wrong at the same time.
Yeah, we'll get there shortly in this episode, actually. We catch up with Matt Partman, who is armed and asks him to enter a door. He hears the thoughts of those inside. He comments that he knows it sucks with NYPD showing up at the door, but that is what happens when you take someone hostage. There's a little kerfuffle, and he breaks down the door. He opens fire on 2 people coming to a room with a woman and a man. Both yell that they're the hostages and that he should shoot the other. Matt hears the man's thoughts and shoots the woman. Bright lights come up, and Matt's simulation for a hostage situation ends. Detective Fuller, a.k.a. Bumpy Johnson from some random movie.
He also looks like a real life version of Droopy the dog, right? Yeah, there we go.
He comes out and asks how Matt knew which was the hostage. Matt claims that he observed the hostage look him in the eye while the kidnapper eyed the exit. Surprised, the detective tells him that usually people notice the gun under the kidnapper's shirt. Detective Fuller comments on Parkman's determination after being shot 4 times, then gives Parkman his new badge as an officer.
Yes. Heroes Logic again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Claire is sitting in science class moving her hand over a Bunsen burner when she's confronted by the boy who almost ran her over that morning.
Sorry. Gotta go with this. Her dad told her to be perfectly unextraordinary, and the first thing she does in class, put her hand over a Bunsen burner and keep it there. Come on, Claire. Get it together.
Maybe she's emo and likes to burn and cut herself. I mean...
That would have been an interesting storyline. Just her, continually cutting herself.
He introduces himself as Wes and asks if she's a robot or an alien, explaining that robots do as they're told and aliens do not.
Speaks more about that in the graphic novel. Yeah.
Season 2 were not my favorite. The teacher asked that question of, in the struggle for survival, it is the fittest who win out at the expense of their rivals. And he's like, who gave that quote? Claire writes down Charles Darwin in the biggest.
Yeah.
Just the biggest.
She uses 3 lines, doesn't she? Yeah. What a waste.
You're going to run out of paper by the second day.
What a waste of paper.
So yeah, Claire doesn't answer aloud, remaining average. Yeah, sure, whatever. Cut to another grown-worthy thing with Alejandro and Maya. They slip through the night and come upon a truck. The driver and another man come out to talk to the siblings. Alejandro asks the driver how much and is told that for 10,000 lempiras, he can take the two to Sonora, which is 600 miles from the American border. And then he's like, yeah, your sexy sister, she had come over with me. And then he's like, nah, she has to sit with me. And I'm just like, this is not going to end well, is it?
They must have liked the 600 miles, after already running 800. So yeah, it's 200 less. They shouldn't care about that. But anyway.
Matt arrives at Molly's school and Molly Walker tells Matt that he's late picking her up.
And your heart breaks, doesn't it? You're like, yay.
It does. This is cute. This is the best thing ever. The two walk away and Mrs. Gerber, aka the new Janice, annoying as hell, pulls Matt to the side and asks him questions about Molly. She notes that Molly is sleeping in class and that she is having nightmares. Matt explained that he's doing his best, but teacher questions whether he's the best person to be taking care of Molly because, the best news ever, he's divorced and he's dealing with PTSD after being shot. I'm just like, oh my god, they just try to slip that all in, don't they? She then shows Matt some of Molly's quote-unquote disturbing drawings of eyes with the Godson symbol. So that's where we're at.
Well, once again, Molly is the center of the big, well, not the center, but she's part of the big storyline. And in the season finale, she referenced the guy who could look back at her, and that is who this is. Her drawings kind of link to the assassinations which are happening, as we'll learn later on in the episode. Once again, Molly's leading the charge.
She's that, and I don't mean this in a bad way, actually, this time. She's the MacGuffin. She's the thing that villains are kind of, the big bad of the season's kind of sort of after. Yeah. She's new Claire at this point.
But let's be honest, once again, it's very disappointing. Like the season 1 finale. But anyway, yeah.
We cut to Kaito, who is sitting alone on a bench outside the Kirby Plaza, while Ando is walking back to him. Ando briefly bumps into Nathan Petrelli, but does not seem to recognize him. Then he sees that he's waiting for Hiro to return. Ando notes that maybe Hiro isn't coming back, but then he tells Ando that for almost 30 years, he has watched his son in disappointment. But with his quest, he saw strength, courage, and wisdom, and he must hand down his legacy. So
there was a deleted scene in this part where he opens the paper, and he basically explains his power to Ando. Whether or not this is canon or not, I'm gonna count it as canon. Basically, he sees the variables of any situation as able to predict the outcome. That is why he became such a rich man, and that is why I love him, because he used his power for financial gain.
So Hiro did have it in him the whole time to be doing that.
Yes. Would it not stand to reason that Kimiko should have a power as well?
That's the thing about genetics, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understand.
That you can just randomly have a kid that is spectacular, and then well, she's smart.
Maybe she's the genetic mutation in their family because she doesn't have a power.
Yeah. Genetics, it's all a gamble.
Yeah.
And then he opens up his paper and a picture of Kaito falls out with the symbol drawn across his face in red ink.
Yes.
He asks Ando where he got the paper, and he goes, from your office. And then Kaito says he'll be dead in 24 hours, and I'm like, you son of a... Why to simply not kill off George Takei, okay?
But he already knows that he's going to die because he's predicted the outcome, and he knows what's going to happen. So yes,
Boo heroes for this. This is like one of the worst decisions ever. But anyway, we cut to Angela, who's in Peter's apartment, and then like Nathan has a beard.
Yeah.
And Angela remarks that Peter is, I mean, that's a hell of a beard.
It's an
I expect
epic
the birds
beard,
to pop
yeah.
out of that thing. She says that Peter is dead and that they must move on, but Nathan believes that Peter is alive. Dun dun dun.
Of course he does. Well, no, he's kind of taking on his brother's traits at this point. He's always just kind of seen the best in people, and he believes, he's just having blind faith in something, which is his brother being alive.
It's stupid. It's like, okay, Nathan's alive, but
yeah,
presumably Peter's dead. Who had the power of regeneration?
Exactly, yeah.
Did you just fly him up and then like Sonic boom off instead of dying with your brother? Well, that's what you're telling me?
Let's be honest, he would have done that. Old Nathan.
That's what I'm saying.
Old Nathan. Season 1 Nathan would have done that. Season 2 Nathan, we kind of feel a bit more sorry for him because obviously, he's driven his family away, so he's like and he's mourning the loss of Peter. And I'm assuming he's lost his congressional job at this point. So yeah, he's kind of down on his luck.
Oh God! And so like apparently he's driven his wife and his kids away.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Maybe they'll be back though. Maybe those kids will be back.
You shut your mouth.
With one of them with the power to clap really well.
She tells him that he killed his brother and drove his wife and kids away, and if he had followed the plan, Peter would be alive. And wonders out loud that he almost did what she asked him to do and calls her evil. He tells her to leave, and on the way out, she finds a photo similar to the one Kaito found with a symbol drawn on her face. Yep. I'm like, let's be real, Mama Petrelli is not good.
Yeah.
I knew that from season 1 first watch.
Is she Is she in the main cast at this point, or is she still recurring guest?
I believe she's still recurring. So we cut to Hiro and Kensei after he teleported him to a field with a horse buck and throws Kensei to the ground. After exclaiming, Hiro finds a sword drawn on him. Kensei asks how it happened and remarks that 50 royal is not worth dying for. As he runs away, he tells Hiro that he can tell Takeo Kensei that he can keep his money, dropping his sword. Hiro wonders who the real Kensei is since the fake Kensei is running away. And then a man in armor with a crossbow comes around Hiro's back and asks how he made the Japanese soldiers scatter. He remarks that if he put an arrow through the leader's heart, he would have been very rich. The armor man asks Hiro if he is a monk since he is dressed strange and wears glasses like a doctor. Hiro takes his glasses off and proclaims that he is Kensei's biggest fan and how he stole his sword. When Kensei takes his mask off, he reveals he is Caucasian, aka a drunk Englishman. Then Hiro puts his glasses back on and asks if he is really the hero Kensei. Kensei replies that he is known in Japan as Kensei, but no one has ever called him a hero before.
I think at this point we can obviously tell that Kensei is a massive con man. I think it's pretty obvious that he's, conning some people at least. But I don't
know what to be offended by more, though. The fact that the guy is a drunk Englishman, or like that I'm just supposed to take it in that Hiro just happened to end up in feudal Japan after the final battle of season 1. I don't know. Liberties.
At the end of season 1, he was obviously thinking about his own hero whilst killing a villain. He was channeling the power of Kensei. Well, that's how I'm going to spin it anyway. So that's why he ended up there.
Go ahead, fan wake away.
And no, I think the surprise of Kensei being white is very well delivered by Hiro. It's one of his better comedy moments in this episode.
I didn't like it in Last Samurai, and I don't like it now. But the fact that he goes on to make a difference in the rest of the season kind of helps this. At Copy Kingdom. No one must really love Paper, by the way.
Yeah, I know, right?
He's being chastised by a snot-nosed punk about being late. not completing work from the previous night. He asks if Noah wants to be excellent, to which Noah simply replies, "Yes, sir." And I'm like, dude, you might end up with a bullet if you don't watch it. Cut to Cairo. Mohinder shares a drink with company representative he met earlier at a restaurant. He tells Mohinder of the company's formation 30 years ago by a group of evolved humans who wanted to help their own, find them and protect them, even if it meant eliminating the dangerous ones. And then Mohinder's like, what gives you the right to play God? And then he's like, didn't you try to kill Silent? And Mohinder's like, he was a monster, I tell you, and he killed my daddy. And he's like, and it doesn't matter anymore because he's dead. And then the representative then shifts the conversation to Molly and how she's being protected by both him and Matt Parkman. And he's like, hey, I'm not trying to mess up that situation. I actually want to encourage it. He remarks that the company is not looking to change that arrangement, but rather they want to help Mohinder fund his research in fighting the virus that Mohinder considers a plague. The representative asked Mohinder to imagine if the virus mutated and affected the general population. But Mohinder reminds the man that that kind of research is extremely expensive. The representative demonstrates that the company has nearly unlimited funds as he turns a spoon into gold, claiming the company has their own Fort Knox.
Nice.
That was awesome.
I know, right? I like this little meeting between the two of them. I kind of like Bob at this point because, he's giving, really intelligent justification for the company's actions, and the way that he brings Mohinder round to his kind of way of thinking, even though we know it's kind of a ruse, is really, really great. The way that, he says that, Mohinder was willing to kill someone to save the world, and that's basically what they do. And that, all the company really do is just bag and tag people, let them try and teach them how to use their powers, or put them down if, they will be a danger to the world. And also,
the company representatives are always really great at that manipulative stuff. So.
But also the turning objects into gold is a great way of, making sure that the company are always well stocked in money.
Explains a lot. So Matt arrives at Mohinder's apartment to bring Molly some pizza. Molly complains that she likes Mohinder's cooking, that Matt always brings pizza, and that she misses Mohinder and his cooking. I'm like, yes, Molly ships them too. But Matt tells her that he ordered pizza so they can talk. Molly asks if he passed the exam, and he goes, yeah. And she's like, did you cheat? Matt goes off and gives some little scallywag answer, and Molly just turns into Micah and gives her business about being wrong. So yeah, he then asks Molly about her drawings, and she's like, you don't want to talk about your cheating? I don't want to talk about these pictures. When Matt persists, she screams that she doesn't want to talk about it and leaves the room. A little mini temper tantrum. It was just so adorable. Back to Maya and Alejandro as they continue on the road in the back of the truck. Maya's reading Activating Evolution. It's back. And comments that the author knew what was going on. Alejandro tells her that if he knows the cause, then there must be a cure. The cure. We're back to that again already. Maya replies that God wouldn't have given her a curse if there wasn't a chance for salvation. Maya continues to be fearful, but Alejandro tries to reassure her that nothing will happen as long as he is with her. The truck stops and the drivers tell the siblings to get out. He pulls Alejandro aside and tries to get double the money. When Alejandro reminds him of the deal, the driver says that Maya must sit in front with him while Alejandro sits in back, and that he must take or leave the deal. Alejandro serves the driver pulls a gun on him, knocks him down, and kicks him. As the larger man takes Maya away, she yells that they're making a big mistake by leaving him. The truck leaves without Alejandro, and he chases after them.
Well, the coyotes, what were you expecting was going to happen? Come on.
Hashtag rapey. But only a mild hashtag rapey. So, they're getting better. Kind of. In gym class, Claire plays badminton while the cheerleaders practice. And honestly, if they're literally in California, there's no way that that's happening. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. All that I'm saying. I know this from personal experience. After hitting the shuttlecock off the court, it goes to retrieve it after Martha falls to the ground. Wes pulls out the creepiest creeper moment to date. And he's holding the shuttlecock, and he accuses Claire of being a robot. When she tells him that he doesn't know her, he reminds her that she had the answer in class, but purposely didn't answer because she didn't want people to know she's smart. She goes back to Martha where the cheerleaders are trying to get her to do a backflip off the tower. Like, random.
Yeah.
Just really? Claire tells Debbie, a.k.a. the new...
Jackie.
Yeah, the new Jackie, to leave her alone. Debbie reminds Claire that as the head of the cheer squad, she can recruit anyone. And I'm like, no? Debbie says that if Claire can do a back tuck off the tower, she'll leave Martha alone. Claire climbs the tower, then remembers not to stand out.
She's already standing out. Yeah.
I would have just done it. I just slipped around with the cast and got out of gym class for the whole freaking semester.
Debbie is Diana Aragon, I think that's how you pronounce her name, who also played a cheerleader in Glee. And also, if you look in the background, Lindsay Fonseca is one of the unnamed cheerleaders just standing around.
Oh yeah, I love her. She was in Nikita,
Yes.
and she's the daughter of How I Met Your Mother.
Yep.
And she was in something else.
She's in Agent Carter now.
Oh, I might actually have to watch that. I didn't know that. Anyway, we cut to Molly having loud nightmares, and Matt like hears her thoughts during her dreams.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
He hears her screaming in a deep voice telling her that he can see her, and I'm like, whoa, #rapey. But not really. Molly awakens and holds Matt, and I'm like, don't do it! Don't do it to Matt asks if she saw him and where he is, but she tells him that she can't tell him where he is or he'll kill you too. I'm like, damn, that's rough. After everyone's gone, Claire sits on the tower where the padding underneath has been removed. She attempts the back tuck, actually does it, but she doesn't stick the landing and ends up injuring her leg on the bare floor. Wes walks in immediately after her wounds have healed. We see Noah sitting in the break room when his boss comes in. The manager tells him that break is over and there's a lot of people waiting. Noah looks at the door to see no customers waiting and continues to drink his coffee. The manager gets in his face and points a finger at Noah, but then Noah grabs and twists his finger while pinning it against the table. And he tells the manager that he'll take breaks whenever he wants and that the manager will not bother him anymore. I love that scene.
Badass Bennett.
We cut to Hiro, who is walking with Kensei and wonders aloud about the stories that his father told him. We're about a gajin, which is a modern Japanese term for non-Asian foreigner.
Yep.
As Kensei urinates, he mentions how the name Kensei means sword saint and that it intimidates others. Kensei came up with the name on his way from England. When Hiro asks in English if Kensei is English, Kensei begins to talk to Shihiro about he was allowed into the country and stayed to look for his fortunes. Wow, really? So we were like, 1641 Japan?
Yeah.
He would have been killed, like, instantly. I'm just saying. Like, this just makes no sense for me from a historical standpoint, but whatever. And it also, like, I'm sorry, as a little bit of a linguist, it just kind of annoys me that when they were speaking in Japanese, they understood each other, because technically Hiro is from Osaka, and Osakan Japanese dialect is like, oh my god, 10s to the max, completely different from even like stuff that you hear in Tokyo or anywhere else. I was just really annoyed with this whole thing.
Well, you know what we've got to say, we've got to say about that.
Heroes logic. So then he talks about some stuff from the trials of Takeo Kensei, wherein Kensei loved the swordsmith's daughter and saved Atsu from Whitebeard. Hiro smells smoke and finds the village of Atsu is burning. Ando and Kaito are on the rooftop of the Devereaux building. Kaito tells Ando that he will die, but Ando will not leave him. Kaito asks him to bring a sword so he can fight, and Ando leaves to get one. As he leaves, he sees the sketchy Angela Petrelli arrive, and he kind of doesn't want to leave.
Yeah.
And then he tells him that it's okay, so he does. And then we kind of learn that along with Charles Devereaux, Linderman, and Mr. Petrelli, he and Angela were a group of 12 people that tried to find evolved humans, and he thinks it was one of the remaining 9 who gave him and Angela the pictures. He reckons that they are threatening them for all the people they killed. Kaito says he tried to redeem himself by helping heroes save the world, and then he asks Angela, what has she done? Like, he's like, I don't deserve to die, but I think you deserve to die, because you basically led your son to the slaughter. And she slaps him, and I'm like, oh, well, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
As she leaves, Kaito tells her that he's leaving for Japan that night and that she should disappear too.
I like the whole, they're kind of building a mythology about it. Like, they've started bits and pieces in, like, previous season with, like, Lindemann and Angela knowing each other and stuff like that, and now they're kind of adding more into it. You know that all these company founders are, like, they're the parents of people we know now, so looking back at it now, everything that's coming kind of makes sense. So, yeah, that's all I'll say, because I don't want to spoil stuff. So, yeah.
Spoil it, yeah. Cut back to feudal Japan in 1641. We see Hiro wander through the refugees of Osu and realize that the future may not be the same as he knew it, wondering what happens means no cars, no Ando, no me. Great. At least he didn't say great.
Yeah.
This time he's getting a better grasp. Kensei tells him not to worry, there's always Saki. And I'm like, Hiro tells Kensei that he's supposed to be a hero, but Kensei retorts that being a hero never filled anyone's sack with salt and saffron. I like that saying. I don't know why. Hiro tells him that for his heroism, Kensei was rewarded with more riches than the emperor and married the most beautiful girl in Japan, the swordsmith's daughter. A young woman smacks Kensei in the face, telling him that they gave him everything to protect Otsu, and that the bandits burned the town and took her father hostage. Kensei tells Yaeko that he tried to fight, but Hiro got in the way. Yaeko takes the sword as both Kensei and Hiro exclaim, "My sword!" Explaining that her father gave it to him as payment for their protection, and leaves. Hiro chases after her, but she leaves, saying someone has to save her father. Oh yeah. Hiro tells Kensei that he must save the swordsmith and make Yaeko fall in love with him, but is punched by Kensei, who tries to find a drink. Oh God! The Butler family sits down to eat
And has the most awkward
Dude,
conversation in the world.
family dinners on TV are always awkward. Like, I have a whole thing about it, but it's so random. And I'm like, damn, we couldn't just leave Lyle behind. He is just so freaking useless. Noah comments on 86 straight days of sunshine, and I'm like, well, yeah, it's Southern California. Don't mind earthquakes, forest fires, and flooding and mudslides. You're good. And Sandra asks her kids how their day were, only to find they were rather ordinary, just as planned. She asks Noah how his day was, to which he replies that he made a calendar for some grandparents. She vents on how Mr. Muggles can't get the recognition he earned back in Texas. Noah receives a phone call from Mohinder, revealing that Mohinder's speeches were a ruse to gain the attention of the company, and that the two are working together to bring it down. Yes.
It's not like the most suspicious phone call in the world. He gets it at the time and then walks away from the table. It's not kosher. I don't understand why no one mentioned anything about it.
Alejandro finds the truck with his sister sitting idly on the dirt road. All of its occupants are dead, with black liquid coming from their eyes and mouth. Yowza!
Yep.
He finds Maya crying, asking herself what she did, but Alejandro assures her it wasn't her fault and urges her to keep moving. They steal the truck, and Alejandro promises to bury the dead. Cut back to Claire, who makes a sketchy phone call to Nathan.
Yeah.
While lying on her bed, Nathan, who is at a bar, tells her that he can't talk to her, but she insists since he's the only person she can talk to. She's not sure if she can pretend not to be special.
Yeah.
That's a nice little character development.
I know, right?
After he hangs up on her, Nathan looks in the mirror, seeing a disfigured reflection of himself with massive burn marks on his face. After looking again in the mirror, his normal reflection returns. Claire lays down in disappointment, while Wes looks up from outside of her window. Cut to, he is actually hovering in midair and then flies away over the trees and houses. If that's not a direct daddy issue situation,
Exactly. I like that. I like the little scene between Claire, she's trying to get advice from her father, but he's got none to give, and it's kind of interesting. Claire, you kind of feel for her because she's saved the world, and now she's being forced to make no new waves in her surroundings. So she's gone from the euphoria of having saved the world to just being ordinary.
She can't even be a cheerleader.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we cut to the rooftop as Kaito waits for Ando, but finds a hooded individual approaching him. And I love the tweet you shared.
The stalker, yeah.
Kaito voices his opinion that of the remaining 9, he least expected this individual. As Ando appears with his sword, the hooded individual runs towards Kaito, where the two fall off the side of a building. Ando sees what appears to be Kaito laying in a puddle of blood with the other individual gone. And for our cliffhanger scene of the night, cut to Cork, Ireland, where 3 thieves are looking for a cargo carrier in the Irish shipping yard. They knock out a guard. When they break into the container, they find a shirtless Peter Petrelli chained to the sides and wearing a necklace with the symbol on it. Expecting to find iPods. Wow. 2007. Wow. They angrily threaten him. He defends himself, knocking one of them backwards with one of his special abilities. When Ricky asks who he is,
Yay!
he replies he doesn't know. Ricky, yeah, they have a character named Ricky.
Yes. So
yeah, that's the episode on Peter.
It's been weird.
Amnesiac Peter.
Trivia. Well, obviously, this takes place 4 months after the season 1 finale. The Heroes interactive two-screen experience did not run for this episode. The episode runs 10 minutes longer. Director Greg Beeman said he felt inspired by the film A Mighty Heart, and it's captured in the moment documentary style. Spanish becomes the second language given English subtitles in the show, appearing in yellow. French was not given subtitles during Parasite. Japanese continue to have subtitles in white text. In the episode commentary, Tim Kring comments that the Japanese subtitles were arranged on the screen to mimic comic book world balloons. The Spanish subtitles are instead placed at the bottom of the screen like normal film titles. Joe Pokatsky and Aaron Collette, we wanted a different look for the stories. Hiro and Ando had the white captions that jumped around like comic book captions. We also wanted the look and feel of Maya and Alejandro's to feel similar to a Spanish film. The beard Nathan is seen in the episode took Adrian Padzar 3 months to grow.
That thing was real?
Oh, yeah. Maya and Alejandro begin their story in San Cristobal, Honduras. The graphic novel Maya y Alejandro tells the story of how they came to the city, and Noah carries a box of toner from Heberken Print supplied to Copy Kingdom. Christina Heberken creates props for heroes.
Basically, she just put herself in.
Exactly. Self-insert.
Yep. The grade?
I'm going to go with a B, because I think even for my lowly 43-minute one, it's intriguing, and that's always good. Maybe could have done without the Maya and Alejandro bit, but I think that's in hindsight. When their first story first tracked, I was kind of intrigued by it, especially the whole Black Tears thing.
I'll just say that it just felt like forced diversity casting.
Yeah.
And they wanted to have twins. And they didn't even get real life twins. So it was just like, ugh. I gave this a B plus definitely because there were no Sanderses and very little Peter Petrelli. So and I thought it was at the time I thought it was a really good cliffhanger just to leave us kind of like, okay, well yeah.
Yeah. But
great Matt and Molly and Mohinder and HOG are working together. It was just good.
I know.
Good setup. The scene, and this is actually a tough one for me because I have so many that I like.
Yeah, go on, you go first.
I guess I want to talk about Bob seducing Mohinder.
Yeah. I like that one.
I really like that one. And I really like the phone call where it's the reveal that HRG and Mohinder are working together. And then I love Mohinder coming home to Matt and Molly.
I think my favourite scene is probably going to be Hero, obviously, because it's Hero. But him, the eclipse happening, and then him stopping the arrows, because it just, I don't know what it is. I just love Hero, and I love most of his scenes, especially in the first and second seasons. So, yeah, I'm not playing favourites at all. So, yeah.
No, we're used to it.
Exactly.
It's okay. Any lines stick out to you?
I think the whole Kaito serving Angela her arse on a plate. I can't even quote it, but it's so good. Just the "What have you done for your son lately?" or something like that. That was great. And then just the slap.
I have a couple. Hero, I broke history.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was literally thinking the same thing. So, and then Nathan to Angela, "You're evil, Ma. Get out." Like, really, Ma?
Yeah.
So New York. It's such a New York thing to say. It was so funny. Any iconic moments that you know instantly are from this episode besides the arrows and the pause?
No, not really. No, you?
I think mine is the end scene of Peter in the car.
Oh yeah,
I always know.
Oh yeah.
It's a grown-worthy storyline too, so that's probably why it's so seared in my brain.
We have two. The first one is Maya y Alejandro, and the only thing I have in my notes about this is even the graphic novel is boring. So yeah, the basic gist of it is that it's an explanation of why they're on the run, and obviously
we get that eventually though.
It's just how they get there from San Cristobal. The trivia I've got are the novel gives editor note that the text is translated from Spanish. The sister and brother shown on the last page are not identified as Maya and Alejandro in the graphic novel. The story explains how Maya and Alejandro got to St. Cristobal, a storyline that is continued in 4 months later. Maya y Alejandro is Spanish for Maya and Alejandro. Except for the title page, The names Maya and Alejandro are not used in the graphic novel. Jesus Christ, I've said those two names so many times. And the license plate of the motorcycle is RMO120. This username is used by Ryan Odegawa. He basically uses it all the time on the internet. That is all the trivia I have.
Well, yeah, the story was by Mark Warsaw, and the art was by Ryan Odegawa. The Easter egg was a behind-the-scenes image of Santiago Cabrera and Tawny Cypress for no reason.
The graphic novel's interesting, but it's just kind of boring. Like, the way that you've realised at the end that it's just passages from Activate Evolution is really good, but it just is pretty boring. The next one we have up is Flying Blind, which is a West story, and it's him just using his powers, saying no one actually ever looks up, so he's cool using his powers all the time, and it's him describing like the different atmospheres as he goes up and up, and it's actually interesting to have someone who actually likes using his powers, and he just goes more into his aliens versus robots kind of spiel, which is robots are conventional thinkers and aliens are abstract thinkers. And that's all I really have. There's no trivia for that one. So, yes.
The story was by a lady, Christine Boyd.
Oh, it would have been better if her name was A Lady. But yeah, sorry.
Well, the Easter egg was behind the scenes image of David Anders and Masai Oka. I believe it is the reveal picture.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Next up, we have emails.
Listener feedback.
Yes, I have 2 pieces of feedback. The first one is from Peter Rose 92. It's a tweet, so it's really short, and by really short I mean 5 words. Season 1 was truly epic. That is it. I think we'll agree with you on most of that. The next one is by... Who do you think it's by?
Charlie!
Yes! English Idiot 101. She starts off by saying she loved doing the hangout with the other live tweeters. So yeah, she's talking about episode 23, How to Stop an Exploding Man. She says it should have been better despite the amount of scenes that were in it. Hero's story was the best, and the best ended in the way that he saved Dando and saved everyone from Sylar. Peter's dream sequence was strange, and the fight between him and Sylar was so anticlimactic. I wanted it to be so much better. I think everyone...
Close the door!
I think everyone agrees with you about that fight scene. So yes.
Yes, I totally concur.
And that is all I have for emails. So we will go on to shameless plugs and self-promotion. So... if you have any thoughts on the Heroes Eps Primatech episodes or questions about the show or for the host, just email us at primatechfiles@gmail.com. You can listen to us on many numerous things. First things first, tell all your friends about us. Make sure you follow us on Stitcher and iTunes. And on iTunes, download, rate and subscribe. Just search the word Primatech Files for us. You can bookmark our Libsyn, primatechfiles.libsyn.com. You can fave us on SoundCloud, just fave Southgate Media Group. You can also find Southgate Media Group on iTunes for numerous podcasts on TV and pop culture, and on their website, southgatemediagroup.com, to learn more about the hosts and keep up to date with the podcast and read their weekly blogs. Our social medias, you can find us on Tumblr, primatechfiles.tumblr.com, our Facebook, facebook.com/primatechfiles. We live tweet 2 episodes every Saturday. Just follow Primatech Files on Twitter to find out which eps, and use the hashtag Primatech Files during the live tweet. We've just finished live tweeting episode 1. The following people live tweeted, retweeted, or faved anything that happened: at French Rose 007, at Cinzia667, at Hemosineal, at Tajirians Danny, at Rob Richardson, at Demetria Mills 3, and at English Idiot 101. You can find my writings at quanmagazine.com and thepeoplesmovies.com. You can also find most of my writings at tvbinges.com for all your binge watching needs and to create your own binge. Finally, you can follow me on Twitter at RickyJDS. Lilith.
You guys should know by now. Find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire. You can find me on Tumblr. I actually switched my URL just a couple of days ago. It's lilithhellfire.tumblr.com. And please be sure to check out my blog, littlepopculture.blogspot.com, which is dedicated to comic books and pop culture.
Download the podcast on your blog.